The 32 kg map, it's still heavy for me, but it's not that heavy for cleaner Anatoly. So guys, enjoy this video with 32 kg map Samantha, and today we got 32 kg bucket.
Hey friends, welcome back. Well, that was everybody's favorite bodybuilder troll, Anatoly. Yeah, the janitor with the 100-pound mop. Let me tell you something about Anatoly. We don't think he's on steroids, and he's stronger than the guys who are. It's a message for the cisgendered men out there. You're letting our country fall apart, and it may not even be your fault. It just may be low T levels. Where have all the red-blooded men gone? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this broadcast, and I appreciate you guys for coming on back. Now, before we start, just a quick word about a very valued sponsor. What if the reason your wellness routine hasn't delivered lasting results is because you're relying on only one piece of the puzzle? Parasites are a global health topic, so are environmental exposures, gut health, and the body's natural detox systems. But many people focus on just a single cleanse and expect it to do everything. The reality is that long-term wellness often requires a more complete approach. That's exactly what my friend Jonathan Otto, investigative health journalist and founder of Health Secret, set out to explore. After years of research, he developed a protocol that combines a targeted red light therapy with carefully selected science-backed ingredients. The goal isn't to rely on one solution alone. It's to support the body's natural detox processes, digestive health, cellular wellness, and overall resilience through multiple complementary tools working together. If you've tried different wellness strategies before and still felt like something was missing, this might be why. The answer isn't always doing more, it's combining the right tools in a smarter way. Visit PurgeMyParasitesNow.com and use the link in the description box below. Also use code SGT Rep25 and you'll get a 25% discount off your order. This is a limited time offer, so grab it now before it's gone. Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks so much for clicking play. It's fantastic to have you back. Sean from SGT Report here. I love my friend Dave, X22, but we're going to call Dave out at the start of the show because I got to tell you folks, we will continue to call spades spades on this show and uncover truth wherever it may be found. X22 Report notes Tucker Carlson is leaving the Republican Party. Marjorie Taylor Greene jumped on board. Candace Owens is against Trump. All coordinated, all at the same time. This is one gigantic coordinated op to get MAGA followers to abandon Trump. And it is failing big time, just like the plot to bomb the UFC event failed. That was a phony baloney plot concocted by the FBI guys. X22 notes, the influencers don't have the narrative, it's fake, and nobody is going to listen to this operation. To which I responded, okay, let me get this straight, folks. So trusting the plan in MAGA now means ignoring Epstein's clients' crimes against children, not bringing the real killers of Charlie Kirk to justice, covering up what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, and shutting down the Strait of Hormuz with a new war? And that's all Tucker and Candace's fault? Okay, got it. I'm sure I'll take heat for my opinion on this, guys, but I think you should really listen to the firsthand testimony. These are the witnesses that were handpicked by the mainstream media within the first 40 minutes of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And with all the talk about the malfunctioning microphone, the Rode microphone, I want you to hear this testimony.
Take a listen to these people who tried to convincingly sell that he got hit in the chest.
I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder, but I just saw it hit him in the chest, and then all of a sudden just tons of blood gushing right out where his heart is, and then he like fell over and slumped down, and everybody got down and was screaming, and then we all ran.
Kirk. All right, guys, so in addition to that, I want you to hear this. Again, eyewitnesses on the ground within the first 40 minutes before the official story's narrative could actually take shape, because I personally believe what Candace believes. The shaped charge in the microphone is to blame, and it malfunctioned.
When I heard the first gunshot go off, all of a sudden I just saw an eruption of blood, come out of Charlie's chest, and then
I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder, but I just saw it hit him in the chest. And
okay, Nobody who watched that event live or on TV would have ever said he got shot in the chest. But the working theory is that was the goal. The microphone malfunctioned and it shot him in the neck. And I got to say, guys, it reminds me of 9/11 when Jane Stanley is standing in front of World Trade Center 7, the Solomon Brothers building in New York City. It's behind her smoldering, and she says details are sketchy, but the Solomon Brothers building has collapsed. Well, that wasn't true, but it did collapse about 10 minutes after her satellite signal failed. Guys, I do wonder where the real men are in this country, the men that are willing to speak up and tell the truth and not bend the knee and take the Judas 30 pieces of silver. Well, I've got two such men on the show today. It's my returning guests, Dr. Bruce Fong, medical director at Sierra Integrative Medical Center in Nevada, and Ron Oliver, professional fitness coach for many athletes, including Roy Jones Jr. Gentlemen, welcome back. I'm glad you have testosterone levels that are at operationally functional levels.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks
we
for
appreciate
having
being
us.
here.
Good to see you guys. And look, I don't want to take us off task today with the task at hand, which is telling the truth about the hormone crisis in this country. But I do wonder why Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens take so much heat when all they want is answers to some very simple questions, which the FBI is not providing. But again, not to take us off task, I want people to understand that more and more folks in this country are feeling like they've been thrown under the bus by a system that no longer cares for them. They're getting laid off as AI takes the jobs. And how many young people and people in their 50s like me long for this life, folks? Talk about young boys with healthy testosterone levels. Who would not be jealous of this beautiful farming woman and her healthy boys? Check this out.
Mama, can you milk in a picture? Sure, we want chocolate milk.
Okay, give me the picture.
Yay, yummy, yummy.
Yeah, what's in? Cocoa?
Milk.
Look how foamy it got. Look, it's very, very foamy.
Oh, I get all the foam. But the first one, I got more foam.
He wants to foam it. This here is a foamer. You want to show how to foam it?
Guys, I'll sound that under. Does that not warm your heart? Should we not all be raising our kids just like this?
Man, I mean, I
Reminds me of how I grew up,
smell.
Sean.
Yeah.
Does it? Is that how you grew up, Ron?
Yes. On a farm, all natural, raw milk, healthy, organic food, water from an artesian well, no vaccines, completely holistic from day one. And it's the only way to live if you want to live in harmony with the design of our bodies, the way they were created to work. You just stick with the laws of nature. Every species is supposed to drink and eat what they're supposed to drink and eat. The only ones that have got it all messed up on the planet are human beings because we've been taught to do different things from what we were designed for. And it ain't working out well for America.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with Ron here because I see that wholesome picture. Number one, that's the ideals that I grew up with, and I grew up in the city in San Francisco, but still, that was what my grandpa and my dad's generation they grew up a little bit more in rural Colorado and places like that. This is the kind of stuff that I couldn't help but, like you said, it brought this really big smile on my face, and it's just literally. There is no garbage there. Just like Ron said, there's no garbage that's bringing you down. I mean, so Sean, you're mentioning this as being this is strong young boys, proper testosterone. That's a life that's going to generate your testosterone. You're active. You're put your body under certain stress because you're actually going to work in a good way, the good stress. You're working and you're making your body naturally have stimulus to make good and healthy testosterone levels.
You know, and I got to say, guys, I'm just so envious of this lifestyle. And
Right,
I'm glad
too.
people are waking up, though. I'm glad people are waking up because just look at the sunlight hit these little boys. Look at the natural vitamin D they're getting, and they're getting the animals. They're getting the milk straight from the cow, all right? Not pasteurized. I mean, they're getting the vitamins. They're getting everything God intended. And that's the point of this show. God intended good things for his creation, but it's men who have defiled it, Ron. Men have defiled it. No wonder we've got radically feminized men in America.
Yeah, it's a crisis. Like we right now we have achieved the worst health on the planet in America, which has caused a massive hormone crisis. Not just testosterone, not just human growth hormone, IGF-1, many other growth factors, because if you don't have enough growth hormone production in your pituitary, you're going to be deficient in all known essential growth factors. And this is the result of a lack of cellular energy, cellular toxicity at an all-time high. We're at a critical mass of toxicity in people's cells. I know this for a fact because I see blood under the microscope regularly. So does Dr. Fong. So we know this is the truth. It's not just the research we've seen. And this is causing a massive problem. So right now we have to deal with this because men are not what they were 50 years ago. They're not even what they were 20 years ago. And just 20 years ago, men's testosterone in America was 25% higher. The average man today is nowhere near optimal levels of testosterone. Just talking about that for a minute. The ideal optimal level for a healthy male naturally is 800 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone. For a woman, the optimal number is 70 nanograms per deciliter. It's very essential for women as well, this hormone. They just need way less than us. And I see people all the time that are way closer to the woman's optimal level than anywhere near the man's level. In fact, I've seen guys under 200 frequently, even young guys in their 20s. So this is a huge problem, but it's not just testosterone. It's also human growth hormone, again, which leads to the deficiency of all these other essential growth factors that most people don't know much about. And that's what we're here to talk about today, because we have the ultimate solution for this.
Yeah, we do. And let me just say, hey, just real quick before we get to you, Dr. Fong, I just want to say, tease for the audience, we're going to talk a little bit about sex with a clip from a sex expert regarding the fact that, believe it or not, that activity will allow you to live longer than those who don't engage in that activity with a loving partner. So more on that, guys, because your erection, believe it or not, is important at every age. I've got another clip to vet that out. So I'm just sharing that, not to get graphic, but just so people know, for men listening, there's a way, even without a blood test, to figure out if you maybe don't have good testosterone levels. But what I wanted to do, Dr. Fong, is ask you, GLP-1s versus IGF-1. What does IGF-1 stand for? Because a lot of people are confused right now with GLP-1, which most commonly now is Ozempic. And we know that that's doing really bad things to people's bodies. What does IGF-1 stand for?
So IGF-1 is insulin-like growth factor 1. It's the master growth factor in the body. In fact, it is the main provider of all the effects of what we normally see with growth hormone in our body. So the IGF-1 is the thing that kind of, it makes us stronger. It bolsters our metabolism. It basically is the main thing that basically repairs, grows, and even rejuvenates or regenerates tissue. And as we grow, we of course have these we begin to have deficiencies in things like human growth hormone, in testosterone, even, and of course in ladies, estrogen. And as these hormones go down, in the case of the human growth hormone, we have less and less IGF-1s produced in our body as a result. So it is essential that as we age, and unfortunately that number where we hit a critical point where we don't have enough to maintain ourselves, and we start seeing ourselves slip, it's becoming younger and younger. And that's going to reiterate what Ron said earlier about testosterone. I have guys coming to my office, guys in their 20s, who have erectile dysfunction. And I think that's insane. We don't need that. And so here at Neutronics Labs, I'm going to hold up our new flagship product. This is the IGF-1 Maximus. This is our the most powerful, most potent deer antler extract that we have. And why am I saying about deer antler? We're just talking about IGF-1. But deer antler, for over 3,000 years, the Chinese knew that was literally the proverbial fountain youth. It was a thing that you added to everything else to recover somebody from illness, to recover somebody from injury, and even for longevity, for vitality as you got older. And so the Chinese knew it by observation. We know it by a modern biochemical analysis, that the deer antler literally contains every single growth factor that is produced in the presence of human growth hormone in the body. So literally, this is a good substitute for the lack of growth hormone that we have as we naturally start to age, and whatever the environment's doing to us. And it obviously is a toxic environment that's kind of bringing us down, and all the other things that are demanding on us. When we start running out of this stuff, guys, we start running out of the ability to resist the environment, if you will, to keep ourselves strong. So it's imperative that we start replenishing that as soon as possible. And the IGF-1 from Neutronics Labs is the most pure way of doing it and the most natural way of doing it. So, in reference to the question, the IGF-1 here in the pure deer antler extract, again, it's a pure, complete growth matrix. It gives you everything that you need, including all the various peptides that your body naturally produces. And so it's a complete matrix. Whereas something like the semaglutide or one of the GLP-1s, they are a individual or an isolate, if you will. Ron and I were talking about that the other day, so I'll use the term he uses. It's an isolate. It's like a one part of this whole matrix that you're actually taking into your body. The problem with that is, although it may have some good immediate benefits, sometimes you're going to have and this is the biggest thing about endocrinology in the body. For every action, there's an opposite, possibly equal, but possibly opposite reaction that goes on. It's a huge balancing act when it comes to endocrinology. So all the hormones, all the other things that your body produces as a chemical matrix that maintains and balances all the other things. So putting the entire growth matrix in there is something the body normally would accept. It's something that the body naturally responds to, and you have predictable and desired outcomes. Taking something in an isolated fashion from that is going to potentially be problematic. You want the entire growth matrix as opposed to just putting one element in there, which there's no balance. And that one element may trigger a whole cascade of things that takes you, instead of going down the straight and narrow pathway, it takes you down to a different pathway, which can give you less desirable results.
Well, let me share this too, because it reminds me of that clip we started with, that lovely mother milking the cow with her excited, healthy young boys, drinking the cow's milk. And let's just sort of compare and contrast that to a modern day situation where mom is sort of babysitting the kids with screen time, with iPads. The kids are inside, they're not outdoors, they're not getting vitamin D, they're not getting proper nutrients. That's sort of the American lifestyle at this point. Then imagine those boys becoming teenagers that just sit around and play video games all day. Ron, before I play this clip about how sex is important and it actually helps us live longer, I just want to paint the picture that a lot of these young men, they're not dating. They're not getting married. They're not procreating. We're not replacing our population in the West because of this testosterone crisis. And I just can't overstate it, Ron.
It's a fact. It's absolute crisis. Like I'm a father of four children, and my youngest turns 1 year old today. And he's always going to be drinking and eating everything that he's supposed to by design, the way God made us. It's just the way it is. My oldest son is 28. He hasn't been sick for 28 years. And what I wanted to bring up is in the whole reason why I actively, approached Neutronics Labs and wanted to be a part of this company and help them share the message with America and anywhere in the world is because of this, okay? I've dedicated my life to holistic health and fitness. This is what I do. This is what I love. I've studied holistic nutrition my entire life. My mom was a complete health nut, and my dad was into it too. And that's just the way I think. I'm just trained this way from birth, And I'm eating and drinking as clean and perfectly as you possibly can. Everybody thinks I'm way overboard, but I'm not going to change that for nobody. I'm doing it because it's what makes me happy. It makes me healthy. I've been 30 years without being sick. Now, here's my point. I'm consuming the best organic raw milk money can buy. I'm eating the best organic whole foods money can buy. I don't eat out. I don't eat junk. I don't do that at all. I don't drink pop. I don't drink alcohol. I don't take drugs. I don't smoke. I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything like that. So I didn't think it could get any better. But when I found Neutronics Labs and I went on the formulas, the man's edge from Neutronics Labs to boost testosterone, man, it's like being 20 again. And then when they came out with this bad boy right here, Maximus, about a couple of months ago, and I went on this product because it's the strongest IGF-1 formula on the planet. I was taking the 600,000 nanogram and the 300,000 combined. And so here's what I can tell you. Old injuries that were with me since I was a teenager, and I re-injured myself numerous times, like my shoulder, I don't feel it. It's gone, completely gone. I'm 58 years old. So my body's healing again. Dr. Fong reminded me of this when he was talking about the healing, powers of IGF-1. And I'm like, no kidding. I'm sitting here thinking about it. He's just triggering all these memories. And my other friends and all my clients, we're all experiencing a youthfulness with our recovery from training and old injuries. I have a dear friend who crashed his mountain bike not long ago on a mountain. I mean, this guy's racing at 64 years old with 20-year-olds on a mountain bike, like downhill racing, right? Not like leisure mountain biking in the mountains. His fork falls off. No front wheel. He hits a tree. His shoulder's smashed, right? MRI, what do you call it? MRI. He's got the x-rays, everything, and his shoulder's ruined. He can't barely do anything with it. It's just frozen. And this is a guy who's very active, who's been training for 20, since he was, probably 15 years old. And he's very fit. He can do like 65 chin-ups in a row. He can do, with just a plate, about 140 pounds, he can do 65 push-up or bench presses, right? And now he can't move his arm. And he didn't want to get replacement surgery because he's, a little freaked out about that, hoping it would heal. And 6 months later, on the formulas from Nutronics Labs, he's doing all of it again. He's doing 65 bench presses with the same weight, and he's doing the chin-ups 65 times at 4 years old, right? Come on, this is crazy. So I just can't stress it enough. People have to understand, I'm not a salesman. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to represent Nutronics Labs because I want to see America become healthy. I want to see men become men again. I want to see women become healthy again. And we need to repopulate our population here because we're dwindling. We're down to one child per family.
But you guys should see what's going on in Japan. I mean, in Japan, they're literally not dating anymore. The men and the women are not marrying, and it is a real crisis. And let me just play this real quick. It's a clip from a sex expert just regarding the importance of staying intimate with your partner well into older age. And those who do, well, they live longer. Check this out.
Can I say something real quick, Sean?
Sure.
The number one thing that kills people as they get older is when they don't stay active. And that brings what Ron said about this gentleman who had this horrible biking accident. What we see I used to do some geriatric medicine. So what we saw in these nursing homes, and these poor folks are in there, that once they break a hip or they have some mobility issue, their activity goes way down. And when that activity goes way down, it's, and I can tell you, I can spend hours explaining all that, but your body just isn't moving things around right? So the bottom line is you're going to go downhill. And also just about that other thing, I got a kid who's going to be deploying here soon, but the whole point is that I had to give him advice on even talking to people. He's used to interacting with people on this. See, that's what I'm going to say. Everything's going downhill, just like Ron was saying. We've got to break this cycle. We got to bring us back to where we were normal people interacting with each other. And lacking testosterone lacks confidence. You don't know how to interact with people. You don't know how to, bring yourself forward and present yourself to be able to ultimately date and procreate, if you will.
And it's even worse than that too, because if you guys remember, I went to an all boys Catholic school, so it's sort of my memory is.
Me too.
Did you? So you remember the mixers with the all girls Catholic school? And it was awkward. You're in high school, and everybody sort of. I mean, come on, it gets weird, right? But those were the pains of having to grow up then. Now, today, imagine those things barely exist. I know people still go to proms, but now you've got the devices like the one you just showed, but I had something else on the screen. You were talking about your son. Maybe his closest relationship is with his phone, right? And that's the thing that happens so often these days. And the sad part is, and I've said this a lot, guys, if I could cure one thing, if God gave me one wish, like a genie in a bottle, it wouldn't be for $20 billion. It would be to cure the plague of loneliness on this planet, which seems to only be getting worse. And think of all the people that won't live longer because they're not getting married and they're not having sexual activity on a regular basis. This was kind of stunning, I thought. Listen.
Your hormones are sending signals, like all these things are good, right? But also, sex is more than just the act of sex. It also helps you live longer. So there's been a few studies looking at sex and longevity. And when you look at people who have sex once a week compared to people who have sex once a year, the difference in all-cause mortality is 49%. They live 49% longer than people who only have sex once a year.
49% longer?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you know why I think that is? I'm no doctor. I think it's because of the feeling of belonging, the feeling of being loved, because your anxiety levels go down. That all adds up. I mean, that makes sense to me, Ron. People who are in a loving relationship and are sexually active are certainly less lonely, theoretically, than those who aren't married and have never married and maybe don't even have a chance to get married.
Well, that makes sense to me. And also, we know for a fact that low testosterone in men causes an increase 88% in mortality. So just being low in testosterone is enough to make you die younger. And a huge increase in heart disease, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer. It's a nightmare. You lose muscle mass, bone density. You become depressed. You have, anxiety. You have fear. You lose your ambition, your drive. You're not going to be the protector you're supposed to be. It destroys men. But it's also very important for women to have enough testosterone because their sex drive is requiring it as well, And this tremendously potent and powerful product from Neutronics Labs, Man's Edge, of course it's for men, it takes 30 seconds 3 times a day. You put it under your tongue, I hold it for 30 seconds, I'm done. One and done. How easy is this? And I take that faithfully every day. I've been taking it ever since I found Neutronics Labs. It is unbelievably powerful, and it's all natural. No side effects at all. Just way better pump in the gym, way better with endurance in the gym, way better with recovery. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And of course, in the bedroom, it's like being 18 or 20 again. It's wild, okay? And then I'm taking the 1,000,000 nanograms because after doing deep research on this, after meeting the owner, Rick Lentini, and talking with Dr. Fong and really doing a deep dive, I was astonished to find out what is actually in the deer antler extract. We're talking over 400 bioavailable active ingredients, 40 compounds, 18 growth factors, all of the essential peptides. It's 50% raw amino acids, all 21. It's 34% minerals. It's loaded with collagen. It's got omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. It has natural anti-inflammatories like chondroitin and glucosamine. It even has, cognitive enhancers, also known as, what do you call them? Nootropics. Okay. Mm-hmm. It has absolutely enhanced my life tremendously. And now I didn't think it was going to get much better. I didn't think I could feel any better. I felt great a year ago. But now, honest to God, I'm flabbergasted. And it's not just me. It's Roy Jones Jr. It's Owen Beck. It's every one of my top clients. It's all my regular clients, average people across the board. I have a 65-year-old man that's been fishing his whole life, very hard physical labor. They work mega long hours, weeks in a row without a day off, and then they're off for a while. It's a tough gig, right? He's 65. His testosterone was at 200. Now, there's other ways you can boost your testosterone. You can lift weights. You can get more sunshine. You can let your, parts in the sun. There's lots of things you can do. But he doesn't have time to lift weights. He doesn't have time to sunbathe. He doesn't have time to do all the other things you can do. The only thing he did, I didn't even get a chance to change his diet because he's out in the boat. He went on the Man's Edge, and he went on the IGF-1 formulas, and the first month his testosterone went up naturally 30%. Mm-hmm. And this was doctor tested day one before he started, 30 days later. That's incredible. And then now it's been about 7 months. It's all the way up to 500. Wow. And once he gets time to add in some weight training and clean up his diet and continues with this program with Neutronics Labs, I'm sure I'm going to get him all the way to the top where he's supposed to be at 65. Yeah. And his doctor's astonished. His doctor's now asking, well, what are you taking? I want to know about this stuff. Yeah. He's setting up a meeting for me to talk to his doctor.
That's awesome.
Bruce, let me
Yeah, I
ask
mean,
you something. Bruce, let me just ask you
yeah.
something about hormones versus, we talk a lot about testosterone, okay? That's on me because I'm concerned about that given my age. I'm in my 50s and I want to have healthy, good testosterone levels. But in women, okay, so my wife suffers, she would say, a little bit from brain fog. I think that's getting better. We've cleaned up our diet, that's for sure. I actually want to circle back and ask Ron about wild caught salmon, how he feels about salmon as a protein source, because I do worry about parasites. But without getting off track, why is balanced hormones so important, both in men and women? Because maybe Ron's talking about his hormones were out of whack, now they're in check. Hormones versus testosterone. Let's just talk about that.
So, I mean, everything's a balance, like I said, in the endocrine system earlier, right? And in fact, my one comment about of having intimate relationships with somebody, the sexual act itself actually is a way of release for a lot of people. But being in a loving relationship and being able to have the coitus or the sex is itself helping to reduce stress in your body. That's what a lot of people find is one of the main benefits. And having that reduction of stress, so taking it right into the hormones now, what do you produce when you have a lot of stress? It's a hormone called cortisol. It's our stress stealing hormone. Unfortunately, cortisol has side effects. You're going to have increased blood pressure. You're going to have a decreased ability to sleep, and you have this inability of being able to regenerate your body. Basically, you're like an engine that ran out of oil. You're starting to grind yourself down when you have too much cortisol in your body. So when you can alleviate that, then everything starts to balance out. But more importantly, guess what? Cortisol, because of its presence, throws off the hormones. This is a perfect segue into talking about this stuff. Is that if you can get the cortisol down, then your hormones start to balance out. But again, here we're specifically talking about again a lack of growth hormone. So we have our IGF-1 product, which is essentially a substitution for growth hormone in our bodies. We have the man's edge, which is our ability to bolster naturally your testosterone levels, and of course we have a ladies formula that is going to help balance hormones and do everything else there. And so, but why is this so important? Everybody keeps talking about my sexual health, and especially with testosterone, guys are going to go, hey, my muscles are getting bigger, everything else. But it's a whole balance of everything. So again, human growth hormone lack again produces specifically, so we're going to focus on the insulin-like growth factor, but there again, remember, it's a whole growth matrix we're talking about in the product here. We're talking about an inability specifically in this arena to produce a luteinizing hormone, LH. And luteinizing hormone is what comes from the pituitary gland. If you can imagine where my two fingers meet in my brain, there's a pea-sized little secreting organ, I guess the best way to say it, gland, that's the word I was looking for, that actually puts out these master hormones that then stimulate everything else in the body. Luteinizing hormone is what actually stimulates production of testosterone in men, and primarily, and of course, estrogen primarily in ladies. So the lack of human growth hormone very much directly involves a lack of production of the primary sex hormones in each of the respective genders. So beyond that, because of that, we see various things like cognitive decline in people's processing speed, their memory starts to go down. There's studies specifically on aging men who also happen to be low on testosterone. When you put them back up on the testosterone, guess what? Their memory got better.
Yeah.
Their ability to process things got better. We have a well-known fact is that in ladies, if they go through menopause, they have 3 times the risk of developing heart attack and stroke as opposed to being premenopausal. And same thing with men, as we reach a point where we don't have enough testosterone, we call that andropause. It's the same thing. There's a risk that goes up with cardiovascular disease. It has a lot to do with keeping endothelium healthy, reducing inflammation in the body, and keeping the blood. And I'm sorry, if you don't understand endothelium, that's the inner lining of the blood vessels. So keeping all those things balanced keeps you from having heart attacks and strokes. But and then if you have your hormones really well balanced, your body tends to be doing everything the way you want. You're keeping better lean body mass. You're not putting on fat unless you're doing other things. And that produces a body that is more insulin sensitive. So you start not to have, or I should say, you should resist the urge to move towards diabetes. So these are really important things. Again, there's all these myriads of different effects, but because of this balancing act in the endocrine system, it's what literally sends the signals to keep your body in that perfect balance in its optimal state. So when you're lacking these hormones, you by definition cannot be in that perfect state. And to naturally restore the hormones with all the various things I was kind of holding up earlier,
Yeah, we
it's
got
got to
that.
be it is the best way to do it. Do it naturally, because everything we talk about here inputs into the body in such a way that it should not throw you out of balance and make things worse potentially. So again, I calling this the proverbial fountain of youth in a bottle. This is our IGF-1 plus product, again from Nutronics Labs, is not an understatement. It is the key thing that's going to keep you healthy and make you the best that you can be.
Well, it's what I've been saying for a long time. Get busy living or get busy dying. I know that's from the
Absolutely.
Shawshank Redemption, but it's really true. And, as our testosterone levels drop naturally as we age, guys, you can either replace that, you can either substitute it, or bring those levels back up naturally with a product like IGF-1, IGF-1 Plus. Here is Brian Johnson. He's a well-known, I think, billionaire, certainly a multimillionaire, but he's best known as a biohacker. And not to make you all uncomfortable, gentlemen, but a little talk about erections and why they are important at any age. Listen to this.
It turns out that nighttime erections for men is a major marker for health. And that if a man is not having erections at night when he's asleep, it's representative of much larger problems in the body. But before we did this, nobody talked about this idea. But every night you go to bed, your body goes through a natural process of erection cycles. So men have between 3 and 5 erections every single night. It's not sexual. Your body is just like pulsing the system. Females have the same thing. So females also have these arousal cycles. There are clitoris engorges. So we can measure a man's erections. So we have this little device you put on the base of the penis, and you go to sleep. You think it's annoying, but it's actually fine. You don't even feel it. And you wake up in the morning, and it gives you a readout: how many erections you had, how long they were, and then the strength of the erections. And what it's basically doing is it's telling you the health of your cardiovascular system, your psychological health, and your physiological health. So if your dick is broken, something else is broken about you.
All right. And just so you guys know, this guy is like in phenomenal shape. He's ripped. He's done everything under the sun to try to improve his own health. Every study, blood tests daily, like a whole crack staff of people. I mean, like I said, I think he's a wealthy guy and he's a biohacker. So, you got to take it seriously when you hear about the importance of erections at any age, Ron.
100%. So the thing about what most are being told to do is they're going to get some, injections, right? Some synthetic testosterone. This causes testicular atrophy. It causes the man's testicles to shrink. It will actually shut down production of testosterone completely over time, actually making the problem worse. But they don't realize that because they feel better once they have a few shots, right? There's cardiovascular risk, there's prostate issues. This causes a very negative impact on the sperm count. In fact, it can even cause abnormal sperm, right? And it's toxic to the liver, the kidneys. Everybody knows that men on steroids, they die younger, they have heart attacks. Look at these bodybuilders. They're 25, 30 years old. They look 50 or 60 from the neck up because of the toxicity of it all, right? But with Man's Edge, you're just putting in your body all these natural things like fenugreek and long jack extract, tribulus, and you're boosting your nitric oxide levels, which is not just amazing for erections, but for your cardiovascular health. To get oxygen into your blood, you need nitric oxide. It's more important than oxygen because without it, you die. You can't live without nitric oxide. So I have found this to be not only amazing for testosterone, but it's given me incredible pumps in the gym. And I take it before. In fact, I took a dose before I came on this podcast. I wanted my mind as sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And I take it before I go on a mountain bike ride. I have become probably I would have to debate anyone about this, but I might be the #1 fan of Neutronics Labs on the planet.
Well, I
Just
think
could
you
be.
might be. I know that you proselytize about it, but that comes from a place of truth and in your heart. But what I wanted to
Yes.
share with the audience is, and you kind of stole my thunder here, but we knew where we were going with Dr. Peter McCullough, friend of the show, the hidden
Yes.
cost of testosterone shots. Listen to this, guys.
So I've seen some men on synthetic testosterone, and they may look really buff and huge muscles, what have you, but the testicles, Andy, are really small, sometimes as big as little marbles or BBs.
Really?
And it doesn't come back. And so I can tell you as a guy,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever take testosterone shots. I'd
Absolutely.
much rather do it naturally.
Okay, let me pause it there. You know, in the 10 minutes we have left, we can round out the conversation however you guys see fit. But I just think it's important. Like I said, you can either get busy living or get busy dying. You can either raise your T levels naturally or unnaturally. Your call, folks. I'm trying to go the natural route with Man's Edge and IGF-1 Plus, which I have sitting right here on my desk.
So
Well,
I would
I
tell
can't
you,
agree with you more. I've dedicated my life to going natural for the rest of my life. I started out this way. The old story is if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? It works what I'm doing, and it's continuing to work for me. My whole family, I have clients that are from 25 years ago. They're consistent getting the same kind of results who follow the things I was taught by my mentor that I share with my family and my friends, my clients. You know, you cannot beat natural. You just cannot. For immunity, for performance, you can't beat it. Now there's things like growth hormone and drugs, you know, that you can take. Of course, there's peptides, and you will see transformation. You'll see muscles grow like crazy. You'll see people lose fat like crazy. They'll look amazing in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt or in a bathing suit, but there's a price. There's a very major cost, and it will not lengthen your life. There's no such thing as a synthetic ingredient made in a lab by a man or a woman out of chemicals that is not organic and natural that's going to cause us to live longer and have a better life. It just doesn't make any sense. It goes against all the laws of nature. When we already have in nature everything, why do we have testicles that can produce testosterone? Why does women have ovaries that can produce estrogen? Why do we have a pituitary? Why don't we help these systems function the way they were designed by God instead of putting things in our bodies that are foreign? Now we have people injecting themselves with synthetic amino acids.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this when there's amino acids in food? That's all, you know, peptides are. There's short chain amino acids.
You know what? What do you suppose the call to action should be for the audience, be they a female listening or a male?
well, at this point, guys, I mean, I clearly am. I've been with Neutronics for over a decade and a half now, and then I really just I just don't believe in the products. I actually use all these things that we talk about here to keep myself healthy, and you know, with even with some major health challenges, I'm able to bounce back, and I'm able to get to places. I got to tell you, the call to action really is be the best that you can be. Again, so we've started to talk. We mentioned several times. This is our strongest deer antler concentration at 1 million nanograms in this bottle. That's going to give you our most potent deer antler, essentially our human growth hormone substitute, if you will, which gives you naturally everything that you get in your body that's produced with growth hormone. I would say that you want to, and guys, again, back to that man's edge. This is a culmination of years of research to look at the best natural products that not only bolster your testosterone levels, but to actually allow your body through the receptor sites to take in the testosterone and to utilize it in the most efficient manner possible. And again, the nitric oxide that Ron talked about through this particular supplement, through L-arginine and L-citrulline, naturally bolstering the most potent vasodilator in your body. The nitric oxide, the gentleman in the video talking about erections, at nighttime you relax. You're able to then move blood flow. There's a natural increase of nitric oxide production, and therefore you get these testosterone. I'm sorry, you get the erections, which are then related to your cardiovascular health. Because if you're not doing it, you might want to get checked out to make sure you're not going to impend something else that can happen to your heart or whatever else. Because we've now have evidence that correlates, say, like a lack of blood flow in your arm or your leg might increase your risk for heart attack. Well, the same thing, if your erections are not coming away, along the way they are, there's something wrong with that cardiovascular system. But the natural compounds in the man's edge can help reverse that as well. And of course, for the ladies out there, we again have the IGF-1 women's formula, which we now have two strengths. One with the deer antler, the IGF-1, as we call it, at 25,000 nanograms, and now we have 100,000 nanogram concentration. And of course, with this, well, we instead of just the deer antler, we add in there things like B12 and folate to give you the ability to keep your nerves healthy. There's vitamin D, which is going to help keep your bones healthy. Iron to keep your blood levels healthy. Cranberry extract, in particular for the urinary tract. And the one that is the rock star in this particular formula is boron. It's this mineral that actually unlocks something called sex hormone binding globulin. We get more of this stuff as we get older, the sex hormone binding stuff that actually grabs our diminishing levels of hormones. And, so we're going to try to unlock those. And now you naturally, again, have more hormone in your body. So again, I would say that the call to arms really is get on board a combination of the IGF-1 plus at the various strengths matching your particular lifestyle, and either the men's edge or the IGF women's formula, based on your on who you are, and you will not regret, because you will see a difference. You will see yourself getting better. And again, natural. I can't reiterate what Ron says more. Doing things naturally keeps the body and that endocrine system in balance. I can't reiterate that more. I try to teach students and residents that, but the whole point is I'm trying to teach you that, and I pray that you take that message in. It's all about balance. And when you use natural compounds, you maintain the balance. When you use semi-synthetics, you're going to start pushing yourself further and further out of the way that you're supposed to go. The point is that this is about keeping you on the road that's you're meant to be. When you take things out of balance, you're going to take your route, your ultimate destination of that metabolism of that compound, to a place you might not want to go. So this is why I would tell you, please give this stuff a shot. You're not going to regret it.
All right. Well, the links are below, and we'll give the last comment to our friend Ron. What do you say, Ron?
Well, it's just very simple, right? Nobody buys a car like a Toyota pickup and then decides to put the wrong fuel in it. Nobody goes against the design of that vehicle. They don't decide to change it, the fuel or the oil or anything. They just stick with the design. They put in the fuel they're supposed to. They put in the oil they're supposed to, the transmission fluid, you name it. They don't go away from the design. Why are human beings going away from the design of God and nature the way we were made, right? So the reason why I am with Neutronics Labs, the reason why I recommend to every single one of my male and female clients is simply because they are the strongest, most potent formulas in the world. They have the highest IGF-1, IGF-2 that are critically important, massively deficient in human beings. This is all clinically proven. They're also third parties tested for contaminants, glyphosate, heavy metals. There's no synthetics in here, no steroids in here. And they're the most potent in the world. Most importantly, in addition to those wonderful things, it's 98% absorption because of their patented liposome delivery system, which is also natural. And it's trusted by professionals like myself, Dr. Fong. I'm putting all my favorite clients on it, and I don't mean I like them more than other people. They're just the most exciting to work with, like world champions, right? That's super fun for me, right? Because they have been through war in the ring and they're beat up and worn out and used up and they feel so much older than a normal person. And I'm watching them get their youth back from these formulas. Yeah. Just the other day, I was on YouTube and a thumbnail popped up. It was Roy Jones Jr. himself. He'd been interviewed about some boxing, but the thumbnail caught my attention. He wasn't in a studio. There was no perfect lighting. And just from the thumbnail, I could see, wow, he looks younger than a month ago when we were on camera together. And I clicked on it and I was like, wow, I can't believe much younger he looks. And then I went and found a video from 8 months ago before he started the formulas. And there's a significant difference in his skin, way less wrinkles. It just shocks me, right? So you can't beat it. And most importantly, the company doesn't play games. There's no gimmicks. You have a 30-day money-back guarantee for everyone. You can buy these products are on awesome deal right now. You can get a bottle of Man's Edge of the Woman's Formula, free bottle of the IGF-1. You had it up there a moment ago. Maybe bring it up for your people so they can see it. Amazing deal. You're saving more than $200 just by trying the man's formula or the female formula, the Man's Edge or the woman's formula, right? And you're guaranteed it's going to work for you, or you get all your money back. And no games. You don't have to send back half-empty bottles and all the nonsense that other people might say. It's veteran-owned and operated, right? It was done properly from day one. They didn't denature these beautiful ingredients that are in the antler of these deer. And anyone that hasn't seen them yet, Google New Zealand red deer and look at these magnificent specimens. They're massive bucks with a gigantic, antler rack, and they're taking these beautiful ingredients out. They're vacuumed out. They're cold pressed. They're freeze dried, so they're not denatured in any way. And we're getting it directly into our bloodstream. No toxicity. All you're going to get is better results in the bedroom, better results in the gym, better results in life, and you're going to live longer and you're going to look better naked.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll have a partner that wants to see that, folks. And I wish you all the very best, especially you young men who are addicted to video games and don't ask girls on dates. You guys got to change your ways, young men. I hope there's young men listening. If they're listening, we've got a product for them that can help, and the links are below to Neutronics Labs. You can use my coupon code to get a better deal. Everything you need, guys, is right below this video. Our guests have been Dr. Bruce Fong. Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks again, and thanks for having us on there. And by the way, I should add that I see a lot of chronic illness patients, neuromuscular degenerative diseases, chronic Lyme disease, and we put all of our patients on the IGF-1 Plus from Neutronics Labs. And compared to people we don't put on them who refuse to do it, these patients do so much better, and they get better a lot faster. So I can't say more about everything we've talked about here today.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on back. And
Let me finish
Ron,
with this, Sean. Just go to neutronicslabs.com right now if you haven't been already. Put in SGT, and you save 50% on auto ship, which you can cancel anytime, but you won't want to. All my clients are on auto ship. I went on auto ship right after I tried the products. And when you use this code, you're going to get another 10% off. So again, you're going to get a bottle of Man's Edge or a bottle of the woman's formula. And I would highly recommend the stronger new one that has 100,000 nanograms of the IGF-1. It's got a lot more punch. My wife loves it. And if you can afford to spend any more, absolutely jump on this bottle right here, Man's, the masculine formula here. This is for men and women. This is going, along with the Man's Edge, get yourself a bottle of the Maximus, even if you're a woman, because all of those ingredients in there perfect for men and women. So don't think it's just for the men because we talk about men so much. I have ladies on the million nanogram bottle of the IGF-1 as well. They're getting phenomenal anti-aging results from it, feeling way younger, way more energy. They're noticing it with their skin and their nails and their hair. So I can't say it enough. Just if whatever you can afford to spend today, go get it, try it. And if it hasn't blown your mind in 30 days, let us know. But be faithful with it, like brushing your teeth. Take it every day, 3 times a day like you're supposed to, and you will be so happy you did.
All right. Money back guarantee. The links are below. Our guests have been Dr. Bruce Fong and Ron Oliver. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Sean.
All right. Appreciate you. All right, guys, if you're still with us, and I do mean guys, come on, guys, let's get our T levels up naturally. Women, too, your estrogen is important. Your levels are important. It really comes down to hormones, healthy hormonal levels. You can start with Neutronics Labs. The links are below. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I'll remind you every single day for free. Check us out 24/7 to get the real news at sgtreport.com. And until next time, may God the Creator continue to bless you and yours. Bye-bye.
Harry Truman got a suitcase of cash to basically sanction the founding of the statehood of Israel in 1948. Well, because they've had so much money through City of London and the connection that basically the Rothschilds, which own a big percentage of Israel, the land itself is owned by the Rothschilds. And so, yes, they have worked together to make Israel the king, to take down America, because that is their plan. And we're seeing it right before our eyes.